The Moonstone, Part 17. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins. Chapter 17. Nothing happened in the night, and, I am happy to add, no attempt at communication between Miss Rachel and Rosanna rewarded the vigilance of Sergeant Cuff. I had expected the sergeant to set off for Frizinghall the first thing in the morning. He waited about, however, as if he had something else to do first. I left him to his own devices, and going into the grounds shortly after, met Mr. Franklin on his favourite walk by the shrubbery side. Before we had exchanged 2 words, the sergeant unexpectedly joined us. He made up to Mr. Franklin, who received him, I must own, haughtily enough. "Have you anything to say to me?" was all the return he got for politely wishing Mr. Franklin good morning. "I have something to say to you, sir," answered the sergeant, "on the subject of the inquiry I am conducting here. You detected the turn that inquiry was really taking yesterday. Naturally enough, in your position, you are shocked and distressed. Naturally enough, also, you visit your own angry sense of your own family scandal upon me." "What do you want?" Mr. Franklin broke in, sharply enough. "I want to remind you, sir, that I have at any rate thus far not been proved to be wrong. Bearing that in mind, be pleased to remember, at the same time, that I am an officer of the law, acting here under the sanction of the mistress of the house. Under these circumstances, is it, or is it not, your duty as a good citizen to assist me with any special information you may happen to possess?" "I possess no special information," says Mr. Franklin. Sergeant Cuff put that answer by him, as if no answer had been made. "You may save my time, sir, from being wasted on an inquiry at a distance," he went on, "if you choose to understand me and speak out." "I don't understand you," answered Mr. Franklin, "and I have nothing to say." "One of the female servants, I won't mention names, spoke to you privately, sir, last night." Once more Mr. Franklin cut him short. Once more Mr. Franklin answered, "I have nothing to say." Standing by in silence, I thought of the movement in the swing door on the previous evening, and of the coat tails which I had seen disappearing down the passage. Sergeant Cuff had, no doubt, just heard enough before I interrupted him to make him suspect that Rosanna had relieved her mind by confessing something to Mr. Franklin Blake. This notion had barely struck me when who should appear at the end of the shrubbery walk but Rosanna Spearman in her own proper person. She was followed by Penelope, who was evidently trying to make her retrace her steps to the house. Seeing that Mr. Franklin was not alone, Rosanna came to a standstill, evidently in great perplexity what to do next. Penelope waited behind her. Mr. Franklin saw the girls as soon as I saw them. The sergeant, with his devilish cunning, took on not to have noticed them at all. All this happened in an instant. Before either Mr. Franklin or I could say a word, Sergeant Cuff struck in smoothly, with an appearance of continuing the previous conversation. "You needn't be afraid of harming the girl, sir," he said to Mr. Franklin, speaking in a loud voice so that Rosanna might hear him. "On the contrary, I recommend you to honour me with your confidence if you feel any interest in Rosanna Spearman." Mr. Franklin instantly took on not to have noticed the girls either. He answered, speaking loudly on his side, "I take no interest whatever in Rosanna Spearman." I looked towards the end of the walk. All I saw at the distance was that Rosanna suddenly turned round the moment Mr. Franklin had spoken. Instead of resisting Penelope as she had done the moment before, she now let my daughter take her by the arm and lead her back to the house. The breakfast bell rang as the 2 girls disappeared, and even Sergeant Cuff was now obliged to give it up as a bad job. He said to me quietly, "I shall go to Frizinghall, Mr. Betteredge, and I shall be back before 2." He went his way without a word more, and for some few hours we were well rid of him. "You must make it right with Rosanna," Mr. Franklin said to me when we were alone. "I seem to be fated to say or do something awkward before that unlucky girl. You must have seen yourself that Sergeant Cuff laid a trap for both of us. If he could confuse me, or irritate her into breaking out, either she or I might have said something which would answer his purpose. On the spur of the moment I saw no better way out of it than the way I took. It stopped the girl from saying anything, and it showed the sergeant that I saw through him. He was evidently listening, Betteredge, when I was speaking to you last night." He had done worse than listen, as I privately thought to myself. He had remembered my telling him that the girl was in love with Mr. Franklin, and he had calculated on that when he appealed to Mr. Franklin's interest in Rosanna's hearing. "As to listening, sir," I remarked, keeping the other point to myself, We shall all be rowing in the same boat if this sort of thing goes on much longer. Prying and peeping and listening are the natural occupations of people situated as we are. In another day or two, Mr. Franklin, we shall all be struck dumb together, for this reason, that we shall all be listening to surprise each other's secrets, and all know it. Excuse my breaking out, sir. The horrid mystery hanging over us in this house gets into my head like liquor, and makes me wild. I won't forget what you have told me. I'll take the first opportunity of making it right with Rosanna Spearman. You haven't said anything to her yet about last night, have you? Mr. Franklin asked. No, sir. Then say nothing now. I had better not invite the girl's confidence, with the sergeant on the lookout to surprise us together. My conduct is not very consistent, Betteredge, is it? I see no way out of this business, which isn't dreadful to think of, unless the diamond is traced to Rosanna, and yet I can't, and won't, help Sergeant Cuff to find the girl out. Unreasonable enough, no doubt, but it was my state of mind as well. I thoroughly understood him. If you will, for once in your life, remember that you are mortal, perhaps you will thoroughly understand him too. The state of things, indoors and out, while Sergeant Cuff was on his way to Frizinghall, was briefly this. Miss Rachel waited for the time when the carriage was to take her to her aunt's, still obstinately shut up in her own room. My lady and Mr. Franklin breakfasted together. After breakfast, Mr. Franklin took one of his sudden resolutions, and went out precipitately to quiet his mind by a long walk. I was the only person who saw him go, and he told me he should be back before the sergeant returned. The change in the weather, foreshadowed overnight, had come. Heavy rain had been followed soon after dawn by high wind. It was blowing fresh as the day got on. But though the clouds threatened more than once, the rain still held off. It was not a bad day for a walk if you were young and strong, and could breast the great gusts of wind which came sweeping in from the sea. I attended my lady after breakfast, and assisted her in the settlement of her household accounts. She only once alluded to the matter of the Moonstone, and that was in the way of forbidding any present mention of it between us. "Wait until that man comes back," she said, meaning the sergeant. "We must speak of it then. We are not obliged to speak of it now." After leaving my mistress, I found Penelope waiting for me in my room. "I wish, father, you would come and speak to Rosanna," she said. "I am very uneasy about her." I suspected what was the matter readily enough, but it is a maxim of mine that men, being superior creatures, are bound to improve women if they can. When a woman wants me to do anything, my daughter or not, it doesn't matter, I always insist on knowing why. The oftener you make them rummage in their own minds for a reason, the more manageable you will find them in all the relations of life. It isn't their fault, poor wretches, that they act first and think afterwards. It is the fault of the fools who humour them. Penelope's reason why on this occasion may be given in her own words. "I am afraid, father," she said, "Mr. Franklin has hurt Rosanna cruelly without intending it." "What took Rosanna into the shrubbery walk?" I asked. "Her own madness," says Penelope. "I can call it nothing else. She was bent on speaking to Mr. Franklin this morning, come what might of it. I did my best to stop her, you saw that. If I could only have got her away before she heard those dreadful words." "There, there," I said, "don't lose your head. I can't call to mind that anything happened to alarm Rosanna." "Nothing to alarm her, father, but Mr. Franklin said he took no interest whatever in her, and oh, he said it in such a cruel voice." "He said it to stop the sergeant's mouth," I answered. "I told her that," says Penelope, "but you see, father, though Mr. Franklin isn't to blame, he's been mortifying and disappointing her for weeks and weeks past, and now this comes on the top of it all. She has no right, of course, to expect him to take any interest in her. It's quite monstrous that she should forget herself and her station in that way. But she seems to have lost pride and proper feeling and everything. She frightened me, father, when Mr. Franklin said those words. They seemed to turn her into stone. A sudden quiet came over her, and she has gone about her work ever since, like a woman in a dream." I began to feel a little uneasy. There was something in the way Penelope put it which silenced my superior sense. I called to mind, now my thoughts were directed that way, what had passed between Mr. Franklin and Rosanna overnight. She looked cut to the heart on that occasion, and now, as ill luck would have it, she had been unavoidably stung again, poor soul, on the tender place. Sad, sad, all the more sad because the girl had no reason to justify her and no right to feel it. I had promised Mr. Franklin to speak to Rosanna, and this seemed the fittest time for keeping my word. We found the girl sweeping the corridor outside the bedrooms, pale and composed, and neat as ever in her modest print dress. I noticed a curious dimness and dullness in her eyes, not as if she had been crying, but as if she had been looking at something too long. Possibly it was a misty something raised by her own thoughts. There was certainly no object about her to look at which she had not seen already hundreds on hundreds of times. "Cheer up, Rosanna," I said. "You mustn't fret over your fancies. I have got something to say to you from Mr. Franklin." I thereupon put the matter in the right view before her, in the friendliest and most comforting words I could find. My principles in regard to the other sex are, as you may have noticed, very severe, but somehow or other, when I come face to face with the women, my practice, I own, is not conformable. "Mr. Franklin is very kind and considerate. Please to thank him." That was all the answer she made me. My daughter had already noticed that Rosanna went about her work like a woman in a dream. I now added to this observation that she also listened and spoke like a woman in a dream. I doubted if her mind was in a fit condition to take in what I had said to her. "Are you quite sure, Rosanna, that you understand me?" I asked. "Quite sure." She echoed me, not like a living woman, but like a creature moved by machinery. She went on sweeping all the time. I took away the broom as gently and as kindly as I could. "Come, come, my girl," I said. "This is not like yourself. You have got something on your mind. I'm your friend, and I'll stand your friend, even if you have done wrong. Make a clean breast of it, Rosanna. Make a clean breast of it." The time had been when my speaking to her in that way would have brought the tears into her eyes. I could see no change in them now. "Yes," she said, "I'll make a clean breast of it." "To my lady?" I asked. "No, to Mr. Franklin." "To Mr. Franklin?" "Yes, to Mr. Franklin." I hardly knew what to say to that. She was in no condition to understand the caution against speaking to him in private, which Mr. Franklin had directed me to give her. Feeling my way, little by little, I only told her Mr. Franklin had gone out for a walk. "It doesn't matter," she answered. "I shan't trouble Mr. Franklin to-day." "Why not speak to my lady?" I said. "The way to relieve your mind is to speak to the merciful and Christian mistress who has always been kind to you." She looked at me for a moment with a grave and steady attention, as if she was fixing what I had said in her mind. Then she took the broom out of my hands and moved off with it slowly a little way down the corridor. "No," she said, going on with her sweeping, and speaking to herself. "I know a better way of relieving my mind than that." "What is it?" "Please to let me go on with my work." Penelope followed her and offered to help her. She answered, "No, I want to do my work. Thank you, Penelope." She looked round at me. "Thank you, Mr. Betteredge." There was no moving her. There was nothing more to be said. I signed to Penelope to come away with me. We left her, as we had found her, sweeping the corridor like a woman in a dream. "This is a matter for the doctor to look into," I said. "It's beyond me." My daughter reminded me of Mr. Candy's illness, owing, as you may remember, to the chill he had caught on the night of the dinner party. His assistant, a certain Mr. Ezra Jennings, was at our disposal, to be sure, but nobody knew much about him in our parts. He had been engaged by Mr. Candy under rather peculiar circumstances, and right or wrong we none of us liked him or trusted him. There were other doctors at Frizinghall, but they were strangers to our house, and Penelope doubted in Rosanna's present state whether strangers might not do her more harm than good. I thought of speaking to my lady, but remembering the heavy weight of anxiety which she already had on her mind, I hesitated to add to all the other vexations this new trouble. Still, there was a necessity for doing something. The girl's state was to my thinking downright alarming, and my mistress ought to be informed of it. Unwillingly enough I went to her sitting room. No one was there. My lady was shut up with Miss Rachel. It was impossible for me to see her till she came out again. I waited in vain till the clock on the front staircase struck the 1:45. 5 minutes afterwards I heard my name called from the drive outside the house. I knew the voice directly. Sergeant Cuff had returned from Frizinghall. End of Chapter 17.